Hi guys, and welcome back to another painting tutorial. So today I'm going to take you through how I paint textured grey cloth. So starting off, I'm just going to base coat some German grey model colour by Vallejo. Now typically the Vallejo model colour range, at least from the ones that I've used, have really good coverage, so you should be able to do just one coat of this. However, if you do need to apply a second one, just go ahead and apply a second coat. And next up, using some ABADDON black, and now using my Raphael 8404 size 30 brush, I'm just going to carefully shade in the recesses of the cloth. Now I should mention as well, this is fairly watered down, just to help maximize control, and just to make sure as well that the recesses aren't too dark, as I want to make this look as natural as possible. So next up, and just to begin doing the first highlight, and also lots of scratches across all of the cloth, just to give it that textured sort of look, I'm just going to use some SKAVENBLIGHT DINGE. Once again, just using the same brush, and again having the paint fairly watered down, not too much, however just enough to do some nice smooth transition highlights from the German grey. So as you can see, mostly just picking out all of the raised areas first, and then moving on to some scratches as well. So as you can see, to begin with, all of the scratches are really quite faint, as with textured cloth, to give it that realistic look, you really want to build this up quite gradually. So again, just ensuring that your paint isn't too thick, not overly thin, but just thin enough to do really fine lines, just using the very tip of your brush, as you can see, and sort of working them in random directions as well. And as an additional highlight, I'm now going to use some STORMVERMIN fur. So for the most part, really just following over all of the SKAVENBLIGHT DINGE. So once again, barely anything on my brush, just make sure that that paint consistency is nice and smooth, and just gradually build up those edge highlights again. And then we'll move on to doing some more scratches as well. So as you can see, once again, just doing plenty of diagonal scratches and also plenty of stippling as well. So originally I was just going to make this tutorial purely focused on the textured grey cloth itself. However, I decided to add just an additional little detail. So I'm just going to be doing a chaos symbol. Now I did get some pretty funny feedback about this. You know, why would a blade guard veteran, particularly, you know, sort of ultramarines, be cleansing his blade with a chaos rag? And to be quite honest, this was a design I had seen sort of floating around over the past few years, and I decided just to do my own sort of take on it with, you know, different colors. And it kind of works in a way. I mean, cleansing the blade with the rags of a fallen foe, it seems to work, I suppose. But anyway, it was just to add a little bit more detail and just have a bit of fun with it. So as you can see, just using some KHORNE red, I'm just getting the outline of the design done. So as you can see, just on the parts where it's working into the recesses, just really take your time with this and try and get the point of the arrow as clean as you can. And this is of course the 8-pointed chaos symbol. And as always, just ensure that you have the miniature in a really comfortable position. For this particular Blade Guard Veteran build, I definitely decided to keep the arms and of course the blades separate, as getting in around all of the details, having it fully assembled would just be a little bit too difficult. So yeah, if you are intending on doing this build, it's definitely in my top 3 of the favorite variant builds for the Blade Guard Veterans. But yeah, to really get that detail in, definitely just keep this part separate at the very least. And of course the helmet as well, especially if you're intending on painting it white. It just makes it that much easier to get all the detail in, and it's very easy just to use. For example, I'm using, I just have a bunch of champagne corks, and also just some blue tack as well. Just makes it pretty easy to hold it in place and get those details in. And just to mention as well, if you're unsure on how to paint this particular symbol, definitely have a reference in front of you for this one. And if you jump on Pinterest as well, there's, you know, for example, if you type in Blade Guard Veterans, you should be able to come across one with this particular symbol on this particular build. So yeah, definitely worth checking that out, just to have a little reference in, you know, in front of you. And lastly, just as a final touch, I decided just to highlight the entirety of the symbol with some bold Pyrrole red by ACRYL. Now, if you don't own this color, as I've mentioned in previous tutorials, Evil Sun Scarlet or even a Vallejo equivalent of a vibrant red will work just fine. However, this is just my sort of current go-to vibrant red. I just really love this color. So essentially, really just tracing over the entirety of the symbol. You can certainly leave some of the KHORNE red as well, but for the most part I wanted it to be quite vibrant. And as you can see, the symbol's really starting to stand out a little bit more. It's really helpful though to start with that darker red, or whatever color you're using, to start with a darker color, just to get that initial sort of outline of the design. It's certainly going to make life a lot easier to go back and correct that, tidy it up a little bit with some German grey, or even the SKAVENBLIGHT DINGE if you want to. Just to tidy up around some of the details if things look a little bit off. I mean, for example, there were some parts of this design that I wasn't 100% happy with, but as I've often said, it's really worthwhile just practicing details like this because it can certainly make you a much better painter. So just go ahead and give it a shot. It's definitely worthwhile. And with that, the textured grey cloth is complete. So I hope you found this tutorial useful today, guys. I'll have plenty more coming in the near future. I might even try and get a few up this week, later on in the week. And as always, if you would like to support the channel, if you're in Australia, the USA or the UK, the links will be in the description below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but if you're intending on buying any of your hobby needs and use those links, it will support the channel. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you again in the next one.